Wife, we're talking about Alex Rodriguez, of course, wants big bucks in the divorce. That's her on screen left. She says she cannot live with his alleged cheating ways. Rodriguez linked to a late-night rendezvous with Madonna, several of them actually. We don't know whether it's a sexual affair or just one of the mind or the heart. And his wife is claiming that it's not only his extramarital activities, but there's more to the story. So will this Yankee slugger go to the cleaners despite the prenup? Let's ask our panel. Defense attorney David Wohl and defense attorney Joanna Greenwald. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Megan.
So it is getting really ugly. And now there's an allegation. She filed for divorce yesterday, the wife, Cynthia, and she says, not in the papers anything about Madonna, but her lawyer comes out and says he's been having an affair of the heart with Madonna. David, does that give Cynthia Rodriguez grounds to get past the prenup she signed?
Absolutely, Megan, and I'll tell you why. Theoretically, Florida is a no-fault state as opposed to New York, which means this shouldn't matter, which means theoretically the material girl should be immaterial, but she's not, and here's why. They do consider morality issues when it comes to custody and financial issues. Ordinarily, it's community property, which means 50-50, but they look at any money spent on an affair, on an adulterous affair, and they'll take that away from the adulterous spouse and give it to the spouse who was wronged, if you will. Now, the other issue is the prenup, Megan. Was that prenup signed with the idea that you take nothing, I'm committed to you, we have a loyal relationship, a faithful marriage, or was it signed saying, hey, look, you take nothing and I can have as many affairs as I want? I doubt it very much. The bottom line is it's fraud in the inducement, and I don't think that prenup is going to hold up.
But, you know, Joanna, that Florida is a no-fault state, meaning she doesn't have to prove infidelity to get a divorce. She can say irreconcilable differences. So what is the affair, while it's salacious, is it really relevant to their divorce proceedings down in Florida?
That has nothing.
If there was an affair, I should say.
Yes, it has a role as far as the divorce issue, because although a no-fault state, you have to claim irretrievably broken. And it's a very subjective situation. So her saying, well, we can't fix our marriage because his heart and his head is in a different place, that's where that comes from. But if I may, I completely disagree with David. Wholeheartedly disagree. We're not even remotely on the same page with the situation.
Why?
Because Florida recently enacted an act that says that with prenups, it's a premarital agreement act, which is almost insurmountable. They will hold tight with prenups. You almost can't get past these. If you did it and you weren't on drugs and you had no duress, then you're not getting past this.
David,
prenup.
Isn't that the way it should be? Look, no one forced her to sign a prenup. No one forced her to enter into that. It's really just a contract. But
That's
she
right.
did.
Absolutely
And now, even though she's ticked off about the evening out at the strip club and the alleged time with Madonna, you know, he's not a great husband if it's true, but she signed the contract.
Read it and weep. Read it and weep.
David, go ahead.
6 affairs, allegedly. Now, listen, if this prenup was signed with the idea that there'd be a marriage here, a marriage that they're committed to each other, it was not signed with the idea that A-Rod could go philandering with whoever he wanted and still get away with paying nothing. There has to be a meeting of the minds when you have a contract, and in this case, I guarantee you there wasn't, Megan, and no court is going to hold this up either in a legal sense or an equitable sense.
All right, now, Joanna, let me ask you about the custody, because that's one thing that they're really going to battle over. And there was a suggestion by some that the alleged affair of the heart with Madonna, whatever that means, could come into this, because that she may have somehow brainwashed him. And the allegation could be that the cabal is a cult, this is what some people believe, and that it could affect visitation, that's how Madonna's going to enter into this. The wife is going to say he shouldn't have custody because the cabal is weird and so is Madonna. I mean, is that legally relevant?
No, I think, again, and David used my great line. He said it first. The material girl is immaterial. When you have this situation, Florida actually, the state does it differently than New York, where they automatically will give joint legal custody. So it won't, unless she could prove that the children are actually in danger, and depending on your taste in music, you might find Madonna actually causes danger. That's the only way that you're going to get, is that there's danger in the situation. But they're going to naturally give joint custody. Yeah. Physical custody is different. But again, does Madonna really affect it? No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Madonna's come out and said.
Issue here, Megan.
What's that, David?
Megan, also, the wife apparently has something going on with Lenny Kravitz, so that could be an issue for her, too.
No, she says that's not true. She says they're just friends. And by the way, Madonna, for the record, says she's not having an affair with A-Rod. She says she and her husband, Guy Ritchie, are not planning to divorce anytime soon. Okay, David, Joanna, thanks so much for your thoughts on it. One final word for our viewers. Cynthia Rodriguez signed this prenup, and she should be forced to live by it. She will get plenty of money. She will get tens of millions of dollars, probably, and she'll probably wind up with custody. The request for anything more is likely motivated by anger, which is perfectly understandable, but not legally sustainable.